Alright, we got a compressor change out today on a Carrier 14 SEER Comfort Series. I got the compressor right here. We're about to reclaim all this refrigerant, and then we'll take out the fan motor and start sweating off those connections in there. Alright, let's get started. Alright, we got everything hooked up, our recovery machine, gauges, got my recovery cylinder there. Let's open these up and open these. Alright, she's pretty much empty now, so we'll let this excess pressure out. I'm going to pull the Schrader valves out to relieve the rest of the pressure. Then we'll get this fan motor out of the way and then start on the compressor. Disconnect out. Let's get this fan motor out of here. Alright, all those are disconnected. Let's get this fan motor on. I don't like these sound blankets. let's start unsweating these connections. Take these bolts out. All right, I got all the bolts out. I should have took the bolts out to begin with, but that'll make it easier to get this suction line off. The suction line is a lot stiffer than the liquid line is, so got all the bolts out. We should be able to rock this guy loose now. It's so much easier. Should have done that to begin with, but we got it off. Let's let this stuff cool down. We'll clean up those fittings, get the other compressor in place, and start brazing. that cool down, and we'll check our joints. Get a better look at them once they cool down. All right, well, I think these are pretty solid. There's no need to leak check on this. It's a brand new system, just the compressor went bad. I feel really confident we should be good, and our vacuum will tell us. Yeah, that thing looks solid all the way around. Liquid line looks really good. Section looks really good. All right, let's pull it vacuum. Okay, so even though my braze joints look really good, just doing a tightness test. Just started it at about 275 psi in there, so we'll run this for a little bit. Got my sub bubbles here, so let's at least check for educational purposes. Good, pretty good. All right, well, we'll let this run for a while just to make sure. This was a new install from about 2 months ago. When I came, pressures were okay, but the compressor, customer was complaining that a couple times throughout the day it just wouldn't cool. Everything was running, just wasn't cooling. When I came, I cycled this thing. It was working okay at first. Pressures looked fine. But then after I cycled it a few times, this compressor just started making a crazy noise. And our pressures were pretty much equalized. You can tell that the compressor was definitely not compressing anything. It was very loud, to normal operation. So amps were very high. It was definitely something wrong with the compressor. We did do a new line set all the way up there. I did check the lines for any kinks or anything, but pressures were fine. It's just maybe 8 times out of 10 this thing cycling, this compressor would just start going weird. It's probably just damaged. I don't know, maybe one of the bad compressors, but everything else looked good. It was cooling, but after about 3 or 4 times of cycling it, this guy would start making a crazy noise. Like I said, pressures will be equalized and all whack. You turn it off for a second, let it cool down, then it will go back to normal. So it had to have been the compressor, so we swapped it out under warranty. But everything else looks good. The guys did a really good install. Braze joints look good everywhere. So I'm just thinking this was a factory defect. All right, didn't get any bubbles down there on my lines. And I've been running this pressure test about 6 minutes, and our pressures are exactly the same. So I know, those braze joints are good. Normally I run my pressure test about 10, maybe 15 minutes or so. But this is looking fine. This is exactly the pressures I started out with, equally the same. Have not dropped at all. This was like less than a 5-minute vacuum. Got it down to 438 and dropping. Just let it go a little longer. Yeah, about less than 5 minutes. All right, we're adding the refrigerant. This unit calls for 4.6 pounds. So we'll get it to that, start it up, and then see what we got after that. Just got done with that compressor. I didn't have access to the indoor unit. The customer was at work, but he insisted that it needed to be done today because it was going to be in the 90s tomorrow. I think it's going to be 88 today, like 97 tomorrow. So he wanted it in. Plus, it was a good, brand new unit. So he wanted that thing ASAP. We had him set up for tomorrow, but he wanted us to come out today. So I wasn't able to get any footage on the pressures after, but we filled that thing to manufacturer specs. It asked for 4.6 pounds, and I think we had about maybe 20-foot line set. So I added about 4.8, 4.9, and just under, just over 4.5 pounds. So I didn't get any footage of that. I just told the customer, hey, just call me back if the thing doesn't cool, but that thing's gonna cool fine. That line set's not terribly long, and it was a bad compressor to begin with. So I did push in the contactor to make sure everything came on fine. Compressor sounded okay, but the fan wasn't running. But I told the customer to run it right when he gets home. So yeah, I didn't get any footage on the pressures, but if I have to go back, maybe I'll add another piece on that. But that's it, man. Compressor change out took us about 2 hours start to finish. I got down to a pretty good vacuum, about 400. That's good in my book. Braze joints were pretty good. Just had to do them once. So that was an easy one. That was a short little 2-ton condenser. It's when you get those crazy 16 SEER, trains or any 16 SEER air conditioner, you got like 3 to 4 feet down to that compressor. So luckily, we didn't need a hoist or anything for this one. But thanks for watching.